let's talk some Pels. Mark, are you buying the hype around this group, considering they haven't lost yet so far in the preseason and how Zion looks back at full strength?
I'm buying. Zion looks like he's in great shape. And I saw him in the Smoothie King Center last week. It looks like he's been eating some great smoothies, some healthy smoothies. He averaged 27 and 7 and 7 when he's in out of shape. What is he going to do now while he's in shape? I'm going to tell y'all now, he's going to be an MVP candidate. The smile, the bounce from Duke is back. He's going to be special this season.
Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Alex, and with the preseason games starting and the start of the season approaching, I thought it's about time to dive into a couple teams that I have some thoughts on. I talked about the Lakers earlier, so if you missed that video, go check that out. But another one of the teams that I wanted to talk about was the New Orleans Pelicans. What piques my interest for this team and what makes me excited to see how good they will be has to do with how much talent they have on this roster and how much they've proved to be a problem towards the end of last season, even without their star player Zion Williamson. Before we get into my expectations for them, let's quickly recap what happened last year that brought them to where they are today. To start off last season, the Pelicans didn't have any high expectations. It was found out right before the season that Zion would be out due to a setback to his injured foot, and the timetable for his return was uncertain. With this, the Pelicans did not perform very well for more than half the season, going 22 and 32 to start off. However, the Pelicans decided that they still wanted to compete for a play-in spot. What made this more of a possibility was that they traded Josh Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Thomas Satoransky for CJ McCollum and Larry Nance Jr. This was an absolute steal for the Pelicans, as this gave them another 20-point-per-game score alongside Brandon Ingram, who at this point was trying his very best to help the Pelicans win games. When CJ got there, his impact was felt in the 27 games left in the season. In those 27 games, the Pelicans went 14 and 14 and by far had the best offense in the league, scoring 120 points per game. However, their defense did take a huge step back, going from about the middle of the pack to one of the worst with CJ on the court. It should be noted that Brandon Ingram only played 15 games in this 27 game stretch, and those 27 games are a small sample size, but this was only a hint of what was about to come, as this improvement put the Pelicans in the play-in tournament. In their first play-in game against the Spurs, the Pelicans won comfortably through huge performances from their big three. CJ McCollum had 32 points, Brandon Ingram had 27, and Jonas Valanciunas came in with a huge 22 and 14 game. Next up was the Clippers, who, even though they didn't have Paul George or Kawhi, they were still competitive all season long. This game came down to the wire, with the Pelicans only winning by 4 points, led by Brandon Ingram, who had 20 points, CJ McCollum had 19, and Larry Nance and Trey Murphy had 14 each, which helped them a lot since Jonas had trouble guarding the small ball lineup that the Clippers were offering, and he often got played off the court because of it. From being seen as a lottery team to fighting their way to the playoffs, the Pelicans' road to victory was seen as over since now they had to play the 64-win Suns. Most people predicted the Suns to sweep the Pelicans or at worst, win in 5. Everyone was wrong. The Pelicans were able to take the Suns to 6 games, and it would have gone 7 since they only lost by 6 points in Game 6. Brandon Ingram averaged 27 points per game in this series, CJ averaged 23, Herb Jones and Jose Alvarado were being absolute menaces on the defensive end, and everyone else was doing their part, but it just wasn't enough. Going into this season, the Pelicans have done absolutely everything to keep this team together. They extended CJ and Larry Nance Jr., and now a majority of their players outside of Larry Nance Jr. will be signed till the end of the 2023-2024 season. This gives this young team time to develop for this season and the next one, and this is something that I think is going unnoticed by the squad. They also drafted Dyson Daniels with the 8th pick in the draft, which gives them even more young talent to build off of. And this is just the cherry on top. Zion is fully healthy and looks to be in his best shape of his life. The potential starting lineup for this team would be CJ McCollum, Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Jonas Valanciunas. If you were to put this starting 5 next to others, it would be one of the most dangerous to play because of all the scoring and the potential for good defense with Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram, and Zion. This team is also deep. They have about 6 to 7 guys off the bench who could see decent minutes, and this is great to see, especially during the regular season. CJ, Brandon Ingram, and Zion could all average 20 points per game next season, with Jonas adding around 12 to 14 points per game, which is crazy to think about. My only concerns for this team, however, are the defense that CJ and Jonas Valanciunas have to offer. CJ is pretty much a negative on the defensive end, which was seen from his arrival to the team, but he'll have to stay on the court because of his offensive ability. And for Jonas Valanciunas, while being a big body in the paint, he isn't the quickest on his feet, so there could be times where he's played off the court, just like in that Clippers play-in game, and the Pelicans would have to run lineups with Larry Nance Jr. or Jackson Hayes at that 5, or go small with Trey Murphy at the 4 and putting Zion at the 5. These guys proved to be good options in a small ball lineup, but obviously you would like to have the best lineup on the floor. Overall though, I don't think these questions are going to hurt them too much because of how much they can score the ball. If this team can stay healthy, I could see the Pelicans being around the 5 or 6 seed, and to me, be a tough first round matchup for whoever plays them. Well, maybe except for the Warriors. Even if they lose in the first round, the fact that they would be able to get there after all the trials and tribulations they went through the past 1 to 2 seasons, it would be a success. And again, because they are young, they will only get better, which is why I'm excited to see what the Pelicans will do this season. Well, those are my thoughts on the New Orleans Pelicans this season. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. If you enjoyed, like and sub, and make sure to check out my newest video on me drafting my fantasy basketball team for this season. Anyways, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.